member of the Information Society? That's a difficult question because I didn't know we were in the...
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today in War Thunder, I'm going to be doing a critique of the Festive Quest, basically giving my thoughts on it, how it could be improved, what I like about it, all of these wonderful things. But before we start, there are two things to point towards you. First of all, the fact that I understand that you can get 90 days and also a year's worth of premium for half price in the War Thunder game itself, but on the Guardian.net store, you can actually split the difference. You can get 180 days, so half a year, for $20. So if that is something that is more in your price range, then obviously go for that. It is, as I said, on the Guardian.net store. On top of this, we do have some other Christmas sales right now on Steam. All of the packs are 50% off. This includes the P51D10, M18 Black Cat, T30 85E, the LA7, Spitfire LF Mark 9, and the Black Prince. Now, these packs are exactly the same as the packs that they gave away 3 weeks ago, so if you want to go and see my thoughts on them, go and watch that video, because there is literally no reason for me to make exactly the same damn video again. So there you go. The only difference between it is that was 3 weeks ago and this is today. So those are obviously stuff to look out for if you're looking at something for Christmas presents. And remember that on the 27th of December, that is when the store deals will start. I'll make sure to cover them for you guys so you can get my opinion and also a cost breakdown of everything. So, let's get to the Festive Quest of today. Now, I've made some spreadsheets just so I can kind of compare each of them. What we're going to be comparing them to, the Festive Quest today, is the one from last year, which gave you the AirSat M10, the NC900, P40C AEC Mark II, and then the good old summer event, which is the FJ4B event, the STKFC 2343, and also the Martless. These were the three vehicles you could get out of it. And the reason why I want to compare the good old summer event to this, because it's the event which was closest to what we had from the normal festive event, and then I'll just compare the festive event from last year compared to this year, just to see what's been improved, what is different. So let's get to the spreadsheets. So here we go. I know the colors are a little bit all over the place, so I apologize. I'll just make sure that my camera isn't in the way of anything. Nope, looks good. Right. This here shows the difference between the baubles, but for the start, I think we should actually have a look at the main tasks. So these are the main tasks that you have to do every 2 days to be able to get your hands on the four main vehicles, which is the T30, which is the MB.152, then you've got the Focke-Wulf, and then of course the other one, which I've forgotten, the SU-85A. So remember, you have to do 3 out of 5 of these tasks every 2 days to be able to get the vehicle. You need to do 10 of these tasks, so over 20-day period, and that is basically how it works. So let's have a look at comparing them compared to last year, and also the good old summer event, and also the actual cost of this if you just wanted to GE it all and not worry about, any of the, not worried about actually playing the game. So, the first thing to understand is if we have a look at the actual tasks themselves, they are very similar to the good old summer event. So the only difference is, the difference in blue is basically it's very similar to the challenge that you had before, but maybe slightly different numbers. So in this case, now we have to capture 15 points, and in the good old summer events, we had to capture 10. Then, for the other one, gain assists in destroying enemies 25, and this one was 20. So you can see the numbers are slightly different, but the actual tasks themselves are very similar to the good old summer tankers event. The same is for the pilot side as well. The only slight difference is the amount of enemies you have to kill. Everything else is exactly the same. So it looks like They personally believe they found a winning formula, and I tend to agree. I think this set of challenges is really good, much better than the ones before. So let's have a look at what the Festive Quest 2017 ones were. So, well, first of all, the ones which are different, you had to gain Supporting Fire achievement 5 times in a squad, and also receive at least 20 18 points in 844 battles, ABRBSB. Now, the reason why they took these two out, I think, is fairly obvious. The Supporting Fire achievement was very much reliant on the people that you were playing with, and yes, I do think that these events should promote squad play. They should promote people playing together, but Supporting Fire, especially with the way that critical hits and stuff has just been changed, it can be incredibly annoying to get. As I've said many times, in War Thunder we are designed, the player, the main objective is to capture objectives, kill enemy players. If we are there to maim them, or if we are there to, do a lot of damage to them but not kill them, then the game would be set up differently. So in this case, Supporting Fires are hard to get because you are trained for years, or the whole year, let's say, to be able to kill an enemy, and now you're being asked to not kill the enemy. This is why changing it from from Supporting Fires to assists in general, I definitely think is a good idea, because you have a lot less control on it, and when it comes to assists, you have more people that can actually give you that challenge. You're not just limited to 3 other players on the battlefield, you are limited to your whole team, and I think also it's just a better thing to do. So I'm fine with them, increasing that to 25 times. I think it is a little bit high, but overall that isn't really the one you should be aiming for anyway. That is another one which will come over time, whereas when Supporting Fire was around, it felt much more you were trying to get them instead of assists, which are much more, general. And the reason why the 2018 points one was kind of annoying was because it was easily abusable. And what I mean by this is, if you knew how to do it, if you knew how to get the 2018 easy, then it was very simple for you. But if you didn't, it was very hard. Basically, the way you would do it is through aircraft. So in ground forces, what you would do is you would do pretty well in your first spawn, get a cap, maybe get a kill, get into an aircraft, start shooting down other aircraft or killing ground vehicles. You get a hell of a lot more points in aircraft than you do ground vehicles. Therefore, you would just rack them up, and then at the end of the battle, if you needed the 2018, you would hop back into a tank, or you would stay in your aircraft. Overall, it was a way to be able to it was basically, you just had to do it in planes. And instead of rebalancing how score works for ground vehicles, I think it is definitely better just to change that to an actual based objective. Like the 2 objectives that replaced it were capture 15 points for the Festive Quest 2018, and also drop at least 10 tons of bombs. Now, both of these were changed in the good old summer event, and now they have been slightly modified, or at least some of them have. So for me, I think this is overall, once again, good changes. I think when it comes to these general tasks, they're incredibly good compared to what we had last year. There is a lot less annoying ones, and also generally it is a lot easier this year compared to tasks before. Now, when we actually look at the price of these vehicles, so what I've done is the cost per stage, GE cost per stage, is $999. Now, that means that if you want all 4 vehicles, which is 10 tasks per nation, per part of event, so that's 20 tasks in total to get yourself the coupons for all 4 of the vehicles, it will cost you $19,980 GE. So this will overall cost you just less than $120 USD. The total GE cost, if you want to do all of the stages, so if you want to actually, get the add-ons such as the coupon for the decals and also the Focke-Wulf 190C camouflage, basically what you have to do is get $23,976, which is $143. So about, $140, $145. So overall, do you want to invest your time, or do you want to invest $120 is the basic way I look at it. Now, for me, I obviously want to invest my time. The reason from a personal point of view is that I want to grind out these vehicles the reason why I want to grind out the vehicles with everybody else without having to pay for anything is because I want to know the feeling of grinding it out, and therefore that will influence my review at the end of it. I want to get the most average, the most average way of being able to get these vehicles, so that can factor into when I review them if they're worth it or if they're not. So for me, $120 is very steep, especially for, someone who has, family, who has house, who has bills and stuff like that. But I'm sure, if you miss a few stages, you're talking about $20, $30, maybe that can be a Christmas present or something like that. It's not too bad. It could be a hell of a lot worse. What we've seen with another game, World of Tanks, they've literally just created some Christmas loot boxes with a broken ass tier 8 heavy tank, the IS-3A, which is an IS-3 with an autoloader, and and you don't get penalized when you run out of a clip. The clip actually like the standard reload without the autoloader is still the same as the normal IS-3. So compared to what Wargaming are doing with their loot boxes, where you have a percentage chance to get everything here, you know the numbers, you know how much it's going to cost completely, and also how much you're going to have to grind for it. So overall, it's a much better system. All you have to do is just do a few calculations. So for me, compared to the Festive Quest Tankers 2017 and Pilots 2017, these tasks are a hell of a lot easier. They're also more objective focused, which I think is a great move. And overall, I think the general tasks are just better. They also take a little bit less time because you're not fidgeting around trying to get 2018 or trying to get supporting fires. The assists will come with time. Everything basically comes with time. The only ones you have to really work for is the Destroy 1164 or Destroy 1142, and also drop the bombs. Everything else, just by playing the game, you'll be able to do. So overall, I think this is an improvement over the Festive Quest Tankers 2017, but it's also very similar to the good old summer ones. The only difference is it's slightly harder in ground, in the tanks ones, because basically you have to get a few more assists and capture a few more points. Not a big deal, really, especially if you set it up so, you're flying around with a Hellcat. And with the aircraft one, it's slightly easier because you have to get less kills overall. So very, very much similar to the good old summer event. I think they have a great basis here for the general tasks, and therefore I would say just using this going forward would be a great idea. Maybe you change up the drop at least 10 tons of bombs. Maybe you add in an option to be able to kill, maybe kill a certain amount of ground targets or something like that. But they would have to be, medium or heavy ground targets, so you can't just, rack up a bunch of AA. Maybe it's something like, kill 20 medium tanks or kill 10 medium tanks, something like that in a battle, in realistic or arcade, I think would work really well. And you could also, adapt that to like pillboxes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think maybe you add in that option, so it's not just, hitting bases and hitting airfield, but overall, I think it's completely fine. So this, wonderful stuff, really good from the end of Gaijin. And also, so far it's taken me about 2 to 3 hours to do both of these. It isn't taking a long time. This is one of the easier ones we've had for a long time, and therefore, if you personally are unsure about it, I would say give it a crack, You will have only missed one by the time this video goes up, so you easily have chance to be able to get all of the 4 vehicles on offer. So let's go to the Baubles. Now, what are the Baubles? Well, the Baubles are the community event side of stuff. You'll find them here at the bottom, lighting up the Christmas tree. I've called them Baubles because, well, I'm an idiot. They're not actually Baubles, they're Christmas lights. I think the old ones are Baubles, maybe. Yeah, there you go. So, the Christmas lights, basically, you have a bunch of tasks which take a longer period of time, as you can see, a week at a time, and these are much more grindy, let's just say, and generally will take you longer, and some you have to actually be able to target. On top of this, I just want to say Leroy wanted me to mention in a video that you can actually get the unguided achievement with helicopters 3 times. So if you have helicopters, then, or you have like the MiG, the F-100D, or the MiG-19 that just got added. You can also use the air-to-air stuff there. Those, for some reason, count as unguided, and also, I believe, so does the FJ-4B. So overall, that is a hell of a lot easier to do than just spamming it in arcade. But yeah, generally these are a little bit grindy. Some of them I don't really like, such as the eye-to-eye stuff, but we'll get into it. So first of all, let's compare it to the Festive Quest from last year, because the good old summer event did not have a community spin to it. There was nothing on offer. The first thing to understand is, if we look at the Festive Quest last year, what was on offer? Well, there was a KV2 mod 1940, and also a Focke-Wulf 189. So, this year we're getting the Lancia, the P43A1, and the A34 Comet Iron Duke 4. So we're getting pretty similar BR vehicles, compared the 189 to the P43, and the Comet to the KV2, but I'd say a hell of a lot less fun. The Uhu, which is the Focke-Wulf 189, is an incredibly fun low-tier vehicle. Basically, you can toss it around the sky, you can do a lot of stuff with it, you can bring bombs, you know, you can recon with it. The P43 is just a fat P36, and it feels like it. It does not feel nice to fly, compared to the American planes in the tree. Is it good at, you know, being maneuverable? Is it kind of, you know, the same playstyle as, you know, the P40s, or the P40F, or something like, I believe it's the F, and something like the P36G? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's just heavy and it doesn't feel nice to fly. It's not really what I want out of an event vehicle, but you know, we have it, so it is how it is. For 9 achievements, I don't think it's as good, as I said, as the 189, or maybe it's not as iconic, I suppose, but it's still nice to have. The Comet is a much more practical choice compared to the KV2, and it will do you well as a premium at the top tiers, but for me personally, once again, it's not fun, it's not enjoyable. For me, I want these gift vehicles to not really be meta, but to be interesting, and the Comet side's more on the meta side than the interesting side. It is nice for returning players, since this was actually on offer ages ago, and now we can actually get it back. I actually don't have it personally, so I'll definitely be working towards it, so at least from that point of view, I'm happy. I just wish that, you know, it was I wish it was something which was a bit more fun, you know, than the Comet. On top of this, one of the things I didn't mention about the other thing is that all of these are premiums, and so were all of the ones from last year. So I think a few people are getting slightly tainted by thinking about other vehicles which aren't premiums, and, you know, the fact that these might not be premiums, well, they all say premium on them, so it'd be kind of scummy if they weren't. Anyway, let's go into the spreadsheets. So the first thing you have to understand is last year you had to get 10 out of 16. Now, if we do 10 divided by 16 real quick, because I forgot to do that, what we get is a wonderful 62.5%. And then this year, what you have to do 9 out of 12, which, quick maths, is 75%. So I'll just bring them down for you, just so you can see them. There we go. So, last year you had to do a lot less of the events, and also there is a lot of the 4 basically which are missing from last year from both sides, and the 5 on the pilot side of things are a lot easier to do. Or at least most of them are easier to do compared to their counterparts. So let's go through the ones which are missing, compared to the 2017 ones to the 2018. So destroy 5 enemies in a row without getting damaged. This is pretty much exactly the same as this one over here, so that's probably why it's out. And then the other ones is try something new. Win a mission in ABRBSB that is easy as pie. Destroy 125 enemies whilst controlling a heavy tank. Once again, that's just a time one, very easy to do. Win one battle in ground vehicles of rank 2 and higher for each nation. So this meant that you had to play each of the nations, and if you didn't have rank 2, you were kind of screwed, but I think overall that was nice as well, you know, with a bit of variety across the nations. It meant that if you were just using meta vehicles constantly to do these challenges, then you had to change it, you know, you had to change it up. So I think missing 2 of them, I liked the try something new one. I liked the win one battle in ground vehicles of rank 2 or higher for each nation, but the destroy 125 enemies whilst controlling a heavy tank, I mean, that's very similar to, you know, other stuff that we have, so generally, you know, don't really matter. And then destroy 5 enemies in a row without getting damaged. I'm guessing this one was just cut, because as I said, very similar to this. So the 5 ones which are missing on the pilot side of things are destroy 15 ships, destroy 5 aircraft in a row without getting damaged, and then try something new once again, destroy 25 ground targets whilst controlling attackers, which is very easy to do, and then win one battle in aircraft of rank 2 and higher for each nation. So they, as I said, they got rid of these 2. Getting rid of these 2 kind of solidifies to me that maybe it was decided making everybody at least play each nation was not a viable thing. The majority of people I talk to in War Thunder do not have every nation unlocked. They also do not have, you know, rank 2 in all of those nations. So maybe that may have been an issue. On top of this, we also just got, you know, Italy ground added. So that is something, because with a new tech tree coming out, it's very hard to actually, you know, get to rank 2 if you don't have access to it. So that may be something they're thinking about as well. Even though last year we got the French at this time, and I'm sure by the time this happened, you know, you could get to rank 2. On top of this, you could just use the aircraft, you know, but if you're just a tanker, then you kind of get screwed by that. The destroy 25 ground targets, that's very easy to do, and the try something new, once again, I like the idea. So which one did they add which was different compared to last year? Well, as you can see on the Tankers 2018, they've changed a few of them, mainly the numbers which are used, and also the way that they've worded stuff. So the one which, you know, is kind of funny is the destroy 20 aircraft whilst controlling a tank. Well, they've changed the wording on it, so it's destroy 20 10 10 ABRB-SB aircraft planes whilst driving a ground vehicle, so you can now use SBAAs instead. Also, destroy 4 enemies with an artillery strike, or destroy 5 enemies with artillery strikes. With an artillery strike? Is that a single artillery strike they want to do it with? Well, I'm saying no on that, just because that would be kind of ridiculous, but yeah, that's something to think of. And then on the other side of things, you know, we have a few of them changed, so we've got a few of them that are easier, and also we've actually got ones which are easier on the other side too, but we have less of the easy challenges. So what I mean by this is losing the try something new, losing the destroy 25 ground targets. These are really simple challenges, and since, you know, you had to do less of them last year, or less of a percentage of them, it means that more of a percentage was taken up by these easy challenges. So now we have less challenges, but they are harder by percentage or by type. So overall, this part of the event has become harder. But there is less stuff to do, is the way to see it. And you have to make sure that you do the majority of them now. You can only miss 3, where before you would be able to miss 6 out of the 16, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. You know, when we have a look at here, you know, you only needed 10 out of 16. Which is a very, very low amount, especially when some of them are literally, you know, win in the assault mission for aircraft. You know, you just got to play the mission and win with some squad mates. That ain't going to take you that long. But they did take out a lot of the easy ones. They didn't replace them with anything. They just took them straight out. So, as I said, some of them got changed. So they destroy an enemy vehicle 1 rank higher than yours. That's down to 10 times from 20 times. Thank God, that was one of the most annoying ones. The destroy 2 enemy aircraft planes whilst controlling defensive turrets, that is down from 3 3, so once again easier. Drop 30 tons of bombs whilst flying a bomber, so this has actually gone up by 10 tons. The capture an airfield in arcade battles 1 time or capture 5 times in naval battles of vehicles ranked 2 to 6. This hasn't actually changed. Well, it's an addition has been made to it, so you can either just capture an airfield, which is what it was last year, or you could also do it in naval battles by capturing zones. So that, once again, has been made de facto easier because you have more choices. On top of this, destroy 70 fighters, 15 attackers, 20 bombers. This is down from 100, 50, and 50. 50 attackers was ridiculous because there are hardly any attackers in the game compared to other types of vehicle. Then, the one which was taken out, destroy 10 5 AB... Sorry, the one which is new, destroy 10 or 5 ABRB vessels whilst controlling the aircraft of the rank 2 to 6. So basically, you go into a naval battle with an aircraft, you can do it in either AB or RB because it works on the spawn point system, very similar to the ground forces, and basically you just machine gun and bomb vessels and take them out. So for me, that's quite easy. It's just one of those things. You have a week to be able to kill 10 people, right? It's not gonna take you a week. So overall, when I look at the differences between them, I do think that the 2018 ones are slightly harder just because you have to complete more of them, and some of them are either the same or harder. Like Unguided and Eye for an Eye for me are 2 hard ones if you don't have helicopters or if you don't have jets. Basically, you have to just take a bunch of rockets into Air Arcade and just spam them at something and hope that you hit. You will get it over time, but it is just kind of annoying to do. On top of this, the destroy 2 enemy aircraft whilst controlling defensive turrets. This isn't too bad if you're me because I have a bunch of, bombers and attackers. But if you're somebody who doesn't really like them and just does the fighters, well, you're kind of boned, aren't you? On top of this, just the long ones of destroy 70 fighters, 15 attackers, 20 bombers. It's hard to find 15 attackers, right? I understand the idea of it. It's supposed to be like a grind over time, but it's just hard to find those 15 attackers. Same with the SPGs. You basically have to play at specific BRs and hope that you run into SPGs. Now, with the spawn point change for tanks, this should make it easier to see stuff, but overall, it's not going to be fun to do. Because I can't choose what my enemy gets into. I can only choose what I get into. So I would much, much prefer if they just did, in a medium tank, get 200 kills or something like that. That would be much better. Kind of like what they've done with the destroy 150 enemy ground vehicles whilst controlling light or medium tanks, that's a good one. But when it comes to, I have to destroy specific vehicles, well, what if there are just none of those vehicles? What do I do then? I don't like the choice being taken out of my hands because I have to destroy specific vehicles. But if we compare it to last year, I still think this event is good. It's nice that they're incorporating some naval stuff. There are actually 2 naval challenges here. As I said, capture the zone 5 times in naval, and also the, being able to annihilate vessels with aircraft in rank 2 to 6, so that's nice to see. The main problem I have with this is the same as last year, the lack of what I would call cooperative content. I think if you are running a community event, which is basically what this one is, it's the idea of collectively being able to do these challenges and actually, unlocking the baubles, Christmas lights, and once you reach the goals as a community, then you get this stuff. There's a lack of cooperation for events, right? Or cooperation for tasks. Like, we do have some, such as complete the ground assault mission and the complete an air assault mission, but for me, there's single missions which are there. There's dynamic campaigns, historic campaigns. Like, these are things that were not, were not even thought about. Well, no, I can't say thought about. Were not implemented last year and were not implemented this year either. So I think it would be nice just to see one which is like complete a dynamic campaign, or maybe complete 3 dynamic campaigns. Maybe there's something about enduring confrontation, trying to push that forward. The idea of play Enduring Confrontation for an hour. You know, something like that. You know, people can give it a go, they can see how they like it, and it would mean that new players would be able to get involved in it, and maybe that's just the game mode they want to play. Maybe the idea of, once again, playing separate game modes. I do like that. You know, to try something new, win mission. It doesn't have to be win a mission. It could be play 2 missions in ABRBSB. You know, do something like that. It doesn't always have to be about winning. But I think that was a nice one that, you know, they took out. But I do think there should be an emphasis on the dynamic, historical, and single missions part of the game, because a lot of people don't know about it, and it's a nice area. On top of this, another thing will be custom battles. We do have custom battles in the game, you know. They're in one of the drop-down menus. And what if it's something like spend half an hour or an hour in a custom battle? And, you know, it's a way to connect to the community. It's a way to be able to connect with players that you may not be used to. A lot of people I've met in War Thunder were through stuff like custom battles, were through stuff like squadron play, obviously TeamSpeaks, Discords, all of this stuff, and there must be a way of promoting this in-game, and the only way I can think about it is doing it through custom battles. So I think that is something you could do. Right, you could do that. It is possible to do. You could also set up a bunch of user missions, right? Just plonk them into the game. Just say, hey, can we use your user mission? You know, we like the races that you're doing. We're like, you know, this general custom mission where you have to defend this specific point. What if you just say, hey, you know, complete 5 user missions, put 10 into the game, and obviously put, you know, the creators of the missions in the game, and then what you can do is from there, if you obviously properly credit them, you can see how the community reacts to different ideas in the user mission and implement them in your own stuff. So it's taking something from the community, testing it in a viable space, in a collective event, and if you like the ideas, pushing them forward to plonk them into the game. Which you can obviously create from scratch. You know, if there's a big push for something specific, like maybe races, or maybe some kind of siege mode, or maybe, you know, improved AI, or maybe paratroopers, or something like that, some kind of missions based around that stuff, then you can plonk it in the game. Right, in your own way, or you at least can get a set of data and work out, you know, what people liked, what did they play the most out of these user missions, and from there you can extrapolate and take and be able to create stuff going forward with those in mind. You know, having more stats and more data is never really a bad thing unless you run out of people to process it. One thing I do want to mention as well is the GE conversions and all of that. So the GE conversion I'm using is the standard one from the War Thunder website. It's in USD, or United States dollar, and for this part of the tasks, so the, you know, collective ones, in order to get the P-43 and the Comet, it's $499 per stage. Per stage, you need to get 9 of them. So for the vehicles themselves, it will cost you 8,982 GE, so about $53.71 USD. And then if you want to get all of the challenges, if you want to help out your fellow companions, then it's 11,976. That'll cost you $70. So if you want to just buy everything outright, if you want to buy the 6 vehicles on offer, then it's going to cost you, what, 120 plus 53, so what's that, $175. And then if you want to go whole hog and and get everything, you know, you're talking about 145, let's say, plus 70, so that's what, oh Jesus, 210, 220, oh dear, 225 is basically what you're looking at. So yeah, 225 on that. So, it's a lot of money, but it's something that is attainable if you, want to spend it. I would say get involved in the community and obviously just go through these challenges by your sen. You can see that there's a lot of changes since last year. They have just basically taken out a lot of them and changed the ones that they've enjoyed. So for me, as I said, I would like to see a few more stuff when it comes to the PvE parts of the game, just to get that community feel, get in squads and play the PvE stuff. It is massively underrepresented in the game already. It would be nice if it was recognized so it wasn't massively underrepresented, and so new players know that it's there, because a lot of them I'm sure don't. But if we're comparing this event to the 2017 event, just because on the standard parts, they've changed these four, it is a much better, much easier event, which you don't have to rely on your teammates as much. So from the collective point of view, the squadding point of view, the interaction has decreased, but from the individual point of view, which I'm sure is, the majority of players play, then that has actually increased. So overall, for the average player, this is better. From a community, companion, squad point of view, whatever you want to call it, it is slightly worse. But I think the losses of supporting fire and the 2018s ain't bad. You can still squad up and do all of these, which is basically what I've been doing and will be doing going forward. It is still a good way of getting involved in the community. So the progress that they've made is a lot better. These general challenges are a hell of a lot better, and it is nice that you know the full price if you want to just buy everything out instead of the grind, which is a hell of a lot better than the majority of companies out there that do stupid stuff like loot boxes for these damn events. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.